Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu, yes, we can hear you now.
Let's copy the audio.
Okay.
Because
Beyond the ocean of sweet water is a tract of land as broad as the area between the once again, beyond the ocean of sweet water is a tract of land as broad as the area between the middle of Mount Sumeru and the boundary of Manasutra mountain. In that tract of land there are many living beings. Beyond it, extending to Lokalok mountain is another land which is made of gold. Because of its golden surface, it reflects light like the surface of a mirror. And any physical particle that falls on that land can never be perceived again. All living entities therefore have abandoned that golden land. 36. Beyond the lands inhabited by living entities and those that are uninhabited, stands a great mountain which separates the two and which is therefore celebrated as Lokalok mountain. Verse 37. We can read the word to word meaning here. The verse is written Saha, that mountain, Loktrayante, at the end of the three lokas, Bhurloka, Bhuvarloka, Swargloka, Paritaha, all around, Ishwarena, by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Gita, created, Yasmat, from which Surya Adina, of the sun planet, Dhruva Apavarga Nam, up to Dhruvaloka and other inferior luminaries, Jyotihi Gananam, all the luminaries, Ghastayaha, the rays, Arvachinam, on this side, Trin, the three, Lokan, planetary system, Avitanvanaha, spreading throughout, No, not, Kadachit, at any time, Rachinaha, beyond the jurisdiction of that mountain, Bhavitum, to be, Utsahante, are able, Tavat, that much, Unnhanyamanaha, the measure of the height of the mountain. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. By the supreme will of Krishna, the mountain known as Lokalok has been installed as the outer border of the three worlds. Bhurloka, Bhuvarloka, Swargloka, to control the rays of the sun throughout the universe. All the luminaries from sun up to Dhruvaloka distribute their rays throughout the three worlds, but only within the boundary formed by this mountain. Because it is extremely high, extending even higher than Dhruvaloka, it blocks the rays of luminaries which therefore can never extend beyond it. Purport: when we speak of Lokatraya, we refer to the three primary planetary systems, Bhu, Bhuvaha and Swaha, into which the universe is divided. This can the echo be, so just make the echo zero and increase the treble something. Yeah. Okay.
There's this mic, we can just put it a little bit further away.
Okay.
That way it'll pick up the sound, but it will.
Okay. Just a minute, maybe here. Hare Krishna. Is it okay? Better? Yeah. Make some adjustment. Okay, so once again I'm reading the purport because we just started. When we speak of Lokatraya, we refer to the three primary planetary systems, Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, into which the universe is divided. Surrounding these planetary systems are the 8 directions, namely east, west, north, south, northeast, southwest, southeast, northwest, southwest. Lokalok mountain has been established as the outer boundary of all the lokas to distribute the rays of the suns and other luminaries equally throughout the universe. This vivid description of how the rays of the sun are distributed throughout the different planetary systems of the universe is very scientific. Shukdev Goswami described these universal affairs to Maharaj Parikshit as he had heard about them from his predecessor. He explained these facts 5,000 years ago, but the knowledge existed long, long before, because Shukdev Goswami received it through disciplic succession. Because this knowledge is accepted through the disciplic succession, it is perfect. The history of modern scientific knowledge, on the contrary, does not go back more than few hundred years. Therefore, even if modern scientists do not accept the other factual presentations of Srimad Bhagavatam, how can they deny the perfect astronomical calculations that existed long before they could imagine such things? There is so much information to gather from Srimad Bhagavatam. Modern scientists, however, have no information of other planetary systems and indeed are hardly conversant with the planet on which we are now living. मम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णाकरुणासिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्ता नमस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा। So first of all, I feel very honored, very blessed to be here in front of Shri Radha Giridhari, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Gaur Nitai, Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees here. I visited Auckland, Shri Radha Giridhari temple here in 2023, and since then very often I see the darshan of Radha Giridhari. I go and pray to them, and I feel very much connected, and they have by their mercy called me again in their presence, in their personal presence. So therefore my deep gratitude to their lordship and to all the Vaishnavas who made it possible. So thank you all for coming this morning, and I think this is the structure of the universe. When I was reading these verses, a stanza of Bhakti Vinod Thakur came to my mind. Can anyone recall what does Bhakti Vinod Thakur says about this creation of the Lord? Bhakti Vinod Thakur has written, Krishna Tua Jagat Vichitra. Oh Krishna, your creation is just amazing. Right? So your creation is just amazing. Krishna Tua Jagat Vichitra. Such amazing, such wonderful descriptions are there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada is establishing, though, they are not just amazing, they are quite inconceivable also. Quite inconceivable. Therefore, Prabhupada is making the point here that, first of all, this knowledge Dev Goswami has also received from his predecessors, coming in the succession, and therefore Prabhupada said, therefore this knowledge is perfect. Even though we sometimes cannot scientifically verify it, and so on and so forth, it may contradict with the modern scientific knowledge, but Prabhupada is trying to establish our faith in this by saying that this knowledge is coming down in parampara, while the modern scientists, they have just started gathering knowledge few hundred years back. There are many other factual things using Vedic astronomy like Surya Siddhant, right? Surya Siddhant, which which Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur wrote a commentary and he explained the book called Surya Siddhant. It can predict eclipses that are going to come decades and even centuries ahead. The whole mathematics is there. It's all mathematical, Surya Siddhant. While the modern astronomers can't do that. Still, we can see scientifically also, the Vedic astronomy stands out. And I know there are some scholars who have been trying to understand Surya Siddhant, and with the help of commentary of Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, for last 1 decade they are trying, and they could only grasp, in 10 years they could only grasp 10% of it. While there is a book and there is a commentary, but still it is so complicated that with 10 years of hard effort, they could only grasp just a 10% of Surya Siddhant and see this fascinating application also. So, Vedic astronomy is again, the movement of the various planets and when the eclipse is going to happen, and so many things are there actually. And it's all mathematical calculation basically. So it is the science given here, Prabhupada calls it science. This is also Shukadeva Goswami describing scientific. But of course we can't always conceive. We are limited in several ways. We are limited, and it requires humility to accept one's limitation, which the scientists may not be able to have. Unless and how does humility come? Unless we accept Krishna's greatness. The foundation of humility is Krishna's greatness. When the Krishna's greatness dawns within our heart, then we can actually feel humble. Till then we think we are great. So in this way, it requires humility to accept one's limitation, and that the scientists may not be able to have it, and they therefore may challenge it. But fine, we don't want to have conflict with them. We respect they also have gained a lot of knowledge and so on and so forth, and able to apply it for practical use in several ways, and we are being benefited by that. So therefore we do respect them, right? But we also have faith in these descriptions, though they may be inconceivable. Yeah. And another point Prabhupada makes is, there is so much information to gather from Srimad Bhagavatam. Modern scientists, however, have no information of other planetary systems and indeed are hardly conversant with the planet on which we are now living. So, now, there are descriptions in Srimad Bhagavatam and they are actually quite brief. But there are descriptions of the structure of the universe and this Bhumandala. This earth is described as a Bhumandala. It's like a disc. It's a round disc. It's not exactly flat. It is like this, tapered disc, and it is quite thick. The lower planetary system are within the earth, Garbh, within the womb of the earth. The lower planetary system. The sun rays do not reach over there, the lower planetary system. They are within the thickness of the earth, the lower planetary system. And the 14 planetary system, so beneath the earth there are 7 of them, and then earth and above are 7. So they receive the sunlight. Now these verses also talk of this is vertical structure, right? So the lower planets are within the earth and they do not receive the sunlight, and therefore the description of the Bila Swargas, there are a lot of opulence down there also, but there the light is through the jewels and all that, just like Krishna's palaces have been described. So these Nagas who reside, they have the jewels, their palaces have jewels, how they lit up, and so on and so forth. But the sunlight doesn't reach over there. So then there are, as I said, above 7 planets. In these 7 planets, the 3 are called as, sometimes we talk of 14 planetary system, sometimes we call Triloka. Triloka has 2 understandings. One is lower, middle and upper planetary system. That is 3. So the 14 can be categorized into 3. The lower, middle and the upper planets. But three lokas also refer to the earth planet via the heaven, and in between the earth and heaven there are bhuvar lokas. In these bhuvar lokas there are demigods in the swargas and humans on the earth. There are semi-gods in between. Prabhupada has used that term, semi-gods. Those who fly within the air, they also have some supernatural powers. So they are called semi-gods. Between the two human beings, they have some extra natural power. There are some spirits, jinns, all those. We describe the jinnis are described and all. They are called semi-gods. They are much higher power than the humans, but lesser than the demigods. So therefore, this is another description of three planets: the earth, Bhuvar, Swaha. Swaha is Swargaloka. The Gayatri Mantra also talks of these three. So, okay, because it said the karma is the governing factor in these three, especially on the Bhuloka. One goes to from these planets by one's karma, and so karma is the main factor governing these three, and tapasya is the main factor. Which is, you can say, karma is the currency here. You get different facilities by how you perform your work. So karma is like the currency, but tapasya is the currency in the above four planetary system, from Jana, Mahar, Tapa and Brahmaloka. The currency that works is the tapasya, and karma works over here. You get better facilities, but tapasya is the main currency, and therefore the word tapodhan has been used several times in the scriptures. The wealth of tapasya. So like one who has done good karma, that's the wealth. Good karma is the wealth which gives you better facilities. The tapasya is the main factor which governs the above four in this 7 we are talking, and the other 7 are below. Okay, this is the vertical structure. Now there is a horizontal structure. Horizontal structure. Now in the horizontal structure of there is a big disk, Bhumandala, which spans 4 billion miles. Now the whole universe is inside, the inside diameter of the universe is 4 billion miles, and the Bhumandala is also 4 billion miles. 4 billion miles, Bhumandala. Just compare it with our Earth planet, which is 8,000 miles. And that is, the scripture says, Sahasra Yojan Prithvi Vistar. Our planet Earth in which we are living is 1000 yojanas, is 8,000 miles, which exactly corresponds to what the scientists say. 11,000 something kilometers, 12,000 kilometers. You convert the miles to kilometers, and that's what the scientists also say. Our Earth is this much diameter, and the scripture says it's 1000 yojanas wide, which we live. But the greater Earth, which is Bhumandala, on which this Earth is situated, is 4 billion miles diameter, and that is divided. Now we are going horizontally. There is one mountain called Lokalok mountain. Lokalok. How does the name Lokalok comes? Loka, Alok. It is, Alok means light and darkness. Lokalok means something which has lit up and which is dark. So Alok is the light, and Lok is the opposite of that, which is darkness. So this mountain is 80,000 miles, and it's circular mountain. 80,000 miles wide circular mountain. Just imagine, make a ring and raise that ring, pile up several rings, and on the earth, the greater earth, and it rises 80,000 miles, and these luminaries, as being described, are within the height of this. Okay, there is a disc. Just imagine this temple hall, and somewhere from the center is a Mount Meru in the center, and the whole diameter is 4 billion miles. Somewhere in between, there is a Lokalok mountain which extends way high, that the luminaries which are there, including 7 other luminaries, their vertical distance is less than the Lokalok mountain. So their light cannot reach the other side. So the whole Bhumandala is divided into the area which is lit up, that is within the Lokalok mountain. Outside of that is all darkness. Outside of that is darkness. So Lokalok. That's how this mountain. Now this 80,000 high. What's the highest mountain in New Zealand? Huh? Mount Cook. What's the approximate height? Nitya Gopal Prabhu gave the answer. Highest mountain peak in New Zealand is Mount Cook. And what's the height of it approximately? Yeah, around 3,500 meters approximately, which is 2.2 miles. Highest mountain in New Zealand is 2.2 miles. And the highest mountain in this world is Mount Everest, which is 5.5 miles. And the Lokalok mountain is 80,000 miles. To give an idea, what figures are we talking? 2.2, 5.5 on the world. And if someone has climbed the Mount Everest, they consider themselves to be the great accomplishers. They put a flag over there, and the whole world kind of looks up to them. They have climbed a mountain which is 5.5 miles. But if those who are really, want to take a challenge in life, here is a Lokalok mountain, 80,000 miles. So therefore, there is every reason for us to be humbled. So Krishna has made this world that we as living entities should learn humility. Just imagine the Lokalok mountain, and the luminaries which we have, their vertical distance is lesser than this 80,000 miles, and the sun rays can't penetrate the Lokalok mountain. So this is just to describe Krishna Tua Jagata Vichitra. Krishna, your creation is very amazing, very fascinating. In continuation, I will describe to you few more aspects of the creation of the Lord. Of course, this description is not easy to understand all of this, but Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Siddhanta bali ya chitte na kar alas, iha haite Krishna lagi sudhira manas. Try to understand to the best of our capacity. Try to understand. If we do that, we will really become fixed in Krishna's greatness. Our sambandh gyan will become very strong. Often it may happen that sometimes devotees and many people, like there are children, we ask the children to, chant the holy names, perform dramas, and so many things, bow down before the Lord. But we never actually try to strengthen their sambandh gyan. I remember one devotee child who grew up singing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, chanting, participating in dramas. Everyone thought he's such a nice devotee. At the age, when he crossed the age of 20, he once asked a brahmachari in confidence, he said, does Krishna really exist? It may happen that, many people may emotionally, out of sentiment, out of devotees' peer pressure, society of devotees' pressure may take up to Krishna consciousness, but they are not fixed in the sambandha gyan. And therefore, they may take up to the process which is avideya, but that remains weak, and therefore their faith can any time be shaken up. So therefore, it is important to understand, and therefore Bhagavatam describes the creation very vividly. This is sthanam, but before that sarga visarga also, how the world is created, quite elaborately described in Bhagavatam. And we should try to understand to the best of our capacity. We should not be lazy to think, this is beyond. But to whatever extent we can understand, our sambandh gyan will be solidified. And then our faith will not be shaken up. Faith will not be shaken up. Avideya. So the foundation, it's sambandha videya prayojan. Often devotees may have weak sambandha and then they just start doing avideya, and then at times their faith is shaken up and they may give up Krishna consciousness. So therefore, to the best of our ability, we try to understand from the Bhagavatam, also in a scientific way, about the creation of the Lord. Creation of the Lord. And in one sense, this creation is also this pastime of the Lord. Creation is also pastime of the Lord. And this is also nectar. Creation nectar of the Lord. So there is Leelas of the Lord, which is also a nectar, but creation is also a nectar but a different flavor. So some devotees may not like this flavor, may find it too complicated, too boring, and so on and so forth. But no, whatever it is given in the Bhagavatam, we should try to understand this also to the best of our ability. That is important. So I'll describe few aspects of creation. I'll describe 4 aspects of creation so that we can better appreciate Krishna. Because this verse says, by the supreme will of Krishna, by the supreme Ishwarena Vihito, Sa Loka Prayante Parita Ishwarena Vihito. By the supreme will of Krishna, all this creation, the division, the Lokalok mountain stands, and the land is divided, that part which is lit, that part which is dark. All this is by the will of the Lord. So therefore, we have to understand it, because this has been created by the Lord by His supreme will. And when we understand, we will be able to better appreciate the greatness of Krishna. And when we do that, we will not take the sweetness of Krishna to be cheaper. Those who are not fixed in Krishna's greatness may take Krishna's sweetness to be cheaper. And they are called Sahajiyas. Sahajiyas also, Sahajiyas mean they think, oh, devotional service is just, matter of sentiment, so on and so forth. So they are called Sahajiyas. They take Krishna's sweetness to be cheaply, because they really do not put an effort to understand Krishna's greatness and to be fixed in that. So therefore, that is the importance of the creation pastime. I will briefly describe 4 aspects of creation. This creation is, the Lord is wonderful. The first word, as I said, Krishna tu a jagatu vichitra. It's wonderful creation. To give an example, take the species of life. How many aquatics? Can someone tell me? How many aquatics are there? Good, 900,000. Your name, Prabhu? Gadai Goranga Prabhu. Okay, Gadai Goranga Prabhu. Thank you. 900,000. And Prabhupada would at times quote the words Jalaja Anavalakkani, Savar Lakshvimshati. The whole division is there. Krame Urudra Sankhyaha, Pakshinam, Dashalakshanam, like that. And therefore 900,000 aquatics. The world's largest aquarium in China has only 500 species of aquatics out of 9 lakh. And they boast that we are the world's largest aquarium. You'll be fascinated. It's so wonderful. But 8 lakh, 99,500 not to be seen over there. Or something like, I'm speaking in lakhs because of that Indian terminology, so you can just see that how it's out of 900,000, 899, 500. So 899, 500 are not to be seen. Just now imagine this largest aquarium, what they boast of, and you need to, you will be fascinated. What is Krishna's creation? 900,000 aquatics. Similarly, Germany has the world's biggest aquarium. And how many species of varieties of birds they have? 700. While Bhagavatam says, Pakshinam Dashalakshanam, 1 million. Dashalakshana is 1 million. There are 1 million varieties of birds, 1 million species of birds, and they only have 700. And that's again being boasted as the world's largest bird sanctuary. And it takes 1 full day. If you rush through, it takes 1 full day. Now imagine if there is a bird sanctuary with 1 million bird species. Right? So how much time it will take to even have a glance at them, and then leave alone if you want to photograph. Right? So that's how wonderful is the energy of the Lord. So all His creation is by the material energy of the Lord. That energy is so wonderful. Maya dhakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. This nature is able to produce all this variety, being empowered. Maya adhakshena, by my glance, by the power of Krishna's glance. the material nature produces such amazing or wonderful variety. So that's the first aspect of creation. It's wonderful. The second aspect of creation is it's quite inconceivable. It's inconceivable. I like to give you an example. There is a bird called, the birds often migrate. The 1 million species of bird that we discussed as described in Srimad Bhagavatam, and these birds migrate in different seasons. Just like human beings also sometimes migrate. When it's too cold, they may go to a warmer place. When it's too hot, they may come to human beings also do that at times. So these birds, there is a bird called as ruby-throated hummingbird. I think ruby is a red gemstone, very beautiful shining red gemstone is a ruby, and this bird is called ruby-throat hummingbird. It's a beautiful throat is like that of ruby, and this bird migrates over the Gulf of Mexico, flies 1,500 kilometers. Flies 500,000 kilometers. There's nothing to rest on the way. Just imagine. Nothing to rest on the way. 1,500 kilometers it flies, and it flaps its wings 80 times in a second. 80 times in a second it flaps its wings. Flies non-stop 1,500 kilometers. And what's the weight of this bird? 3 grams. and to give you an idea, this is $1 New Zealand. Okay? And I checked the weight. I did some homework before the class. It weighs 8 grams. 1 New Zealand dollar weighs 8 grams. Put it on the scale. This ruby-throated hummingbird is less than half of the weight, 3 grams. It flaps its wing 80 times per second and flies 1,500 kilometers to migrate over the Gulf of Mexico. And the scientists have no clue of where it's getting its energy from. Like the battery, all the battery vehicles, the weight is a consideration, a lot of consideration, weight. The batteries have a huge weight. So therefore, the best robot cannot even be 1% efficient as this bird. The best robotic creation of the scientists cannot even be 1% efficient as this ruby-throated hummingbird. That's how inconceivable the creation is. In our experience, we are not talking of going to Lokalok mountain now. This ruby-throated hummingbird migrates from South America. Right? You can see over the Gulf of Mexico. This bird is seen, can be witnessed with one's own eyes. The weight can be measured, everything measurable. And that's inconceivable creation of the Lord. So the creation, and there are many other inconceivable things, by which we can strengthen our faith in the creation of the Lord. The third aspect of the creation is very fascinating. The material energy, the creation by the Lord, is all energy of the Lord, basically. Right? The whole creation, as we discussed, is by the external energy of the Lord, which is Krishna's own energy. It's very fascinating how the energy works. Now, to give you one example of how the energy works. In India, there are Ayurvedic doctors. And there was a patient who went to the Ayurvedic doctor, and this doctor told him, you should not eat this. In Ayurveda, the first thing is so many don'ts. That's how the medicine doesn't work. So he told him, you can't eat this. And he said, okay, fine. And he told, this doctor is so strict, he said, only if you will follow this, then take my medicine. Otherwise, the medicine won't work, and you will see the doctor is a quack. Right? So only if you want to follow this, then take the medicine. Otherwise, just get out of here. Right? He's a very strict person. You have to commit, you have to follow. And he said, okay, I'll follow. And he went after a month for the review of his health, and he again checked his pulse. And he said, last week you ate urad dal. Urad dal is what is called black gram. Last week you ate it. Tell me, did you eat or not? And he was shocked. So 1 week has passed, digested so many, and everything has flushed out also. This doctor is saying you did violate my prescription, the dietary prescription, and he had to admit it, and he was shocked. This is energy. He can tap into that. This is how subtle. There are some subtle ways of the Krishna's energy is more gross and subtle. There are many such people. I knew one person who was suffering from a terrible backache for 10 years. And there was one healer, again he connected with Lord's energy. He had some Shakti, he tapped into energy. And within a matter of 10 minutes, he cured that 10-year-long difficulty where there was always pain in walking. And within 10 minutes, he just cured him. And for next 10 years, when I met that person, he said, last 10 years have passed and absolutely have no problem. There are such people. There are witnesses like that. Because they can just, this is knowing how the energy works. Krishna's energy. All this is Krishna's energy. So there are many such people who understand that, and they can, they can understand and they can play with that energy basically, and cure and heal, and so on and so forth. Many such things. Even the scientists, how the world is connected, how the Wi-Fi is working, it's also inconceivable. If you go back, I would say, if you just go back 25 years, right? I remember 25 years back, I used to go to a booth to make a call. And there would be a waiting of 20 minutes when I was studying in the college. I'm just talking of 25 years back. I used to go to a booth to make a call and there would be a waiting of 20 minutes at the booth. Now just imagine now how the world is connected. So material energy works quite inconceivably. But yes, there are healers, they may sometimes heal, but there are other cases they may not be able to do it. It's not always they can fully. Therefore, no one can actually fully grasp how the material energy works. They can only understand some part of it to some extent, and that looks like miraculous. But no one can fully understand. Or to speak of spiritual energy, no one in this world can fully comprehend how the material energy works. How the material energy works. So that's the inconceivable aspect of the material energy. There are several examples, but therefore a corollary point to that is there are many scholars and philosophers, Vedic scholars and philosophers, who try to understand the energy of the Lord, and they propose so many wonderful theories and so on and so forth, like even the scientists, which are quite wonderful, quite inconceivable, but they are still incomplete. No one can fully understand the extent of material energy of the Lord. The material energy of the Lord, how it works, is inconceivable. Therefore, rather than, and sometimes it works, sometimes, and they may actually, other times they may be to utter failure. As I said, sometimes that person may be able to cure a person in 10 minutes, a person who has been suffering. Other time, they may be an utter failure. But because you cannot fully comprehend it. It's inconceivable. Therefore, the Vaishnavas, instead of focusing on energy, they take shelter of the energetic, within whose control are all the energies. Therefore, the Lord can adjust the energy for His devotees. Right? He fully can comprehend and fully controls. No one else in this world can even fully comprehend the energy of the Lord, and people only play with a small, tiny fraction and they become very famous. Actually, or they create many waves when they can just comprehend a small fraction of it. So therefore, Vedic philosophers also, the various six systems of philosophy, they are also talking about, someone is talking about karma, someone is talking about the Sankhya Yoga, dealing with the material elements, so on and so forth. They are dealing with the Lord's energies, and therefore they are imperfect, because no one can perfectly understand how the energy of the Lord works. But those who take shelter of all perfect Krishna, they are, they are They are perfectly situated and they can solve all the problems of life because Krishna is supreme energetic. While dealing with material energy, you may solve some problem but create another problems at times because no one fully understand and comprehend material energy of the Lord. It's quite inconceivable. The third aspect of the energy of the Lord, it is quite fascinating. It's quite fascinating. Now this is the word fascinating is again similar to being amazed and so on and so forth. So I'm not going into detail of that. So it is quite wonderful, quite inconceivable, quite fascinating. But what I now want to focus on, the last aspect of the material energy, it is all illusory. And that is something important for us to understand. It's all illusory. One person asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, you said the spiritual master is all knowing, like the super soul. And Prabhupada said, yes. Then can you tell me how many windows are there in the Empire State Building? This Empire State Building stands out in the Manhattan skyline. You can see Empire State Building. It quite stands out. It is one of the iconic building in the New York Manhattan skyline. And there are many windows, and probably they sometimes do the renovation and create some extra windows, and maybe two windows can be combined into one. So the number of windows may keep changing. He said, Swamiji, if you are all knowing, like the super soul, as you said, the spiritual master is all knowing, can you tell me how many windows are there in this Empire State Building? So like a challenging question. And Prabhupada very beautifully answered that question. He said, how many drops of water in the mirage? He answered the question by saying, you are asking me how many drops of water in the mirage. So, it's illusory. These manifestations are all temporary. And temporary, as I said, this will not last long. So this is not something, this is called, from Vedic or from spiritual knowledge perspective, this is all ignorance. Spiritual master is all knowing. But this is all illusory. All the manifestations are temporary. The number of windows has to keep changing at times. The building won't remain long. So this is not called knowledge, basically, from spiritual perspective. So Prabhupada beautifully pointed that out. So therefore, this world, though it is so wonderful, so inconceivable, this world created by Lord's energy, it's very fascinating, but ultimately it is illusory in the sense it is temporary. It's temporary. Or it gives false promise. There are two aspects of illusory. Now, the world is not illusory like the Mayavadis say. Like the Mayavadis says. The world is illusory. This world is both real and illusory, basically. But those who want to enjoy this world, the illusion is emphasized more. Because it will not give the enjoyment its promises on the face. The world seems to be promising us great enjoyment, but no, it won't. Prahlad Maharaj says, Shruti Sukha Mrita Tishni Rupa. This world is Shruti Sukha. Happiness is only in contemplation, in making plans for enjoyment. When actually one person goes into enjoyment, he doesn't find that great, and then it just dwindles away also. So therefore this world is illusory in two senses. It is temporary, and the enjoyment it promises actually doesn't exist. It is a greater misery than the enjoyment. So therefore that's the false nature. And it's real because it is manifesting from the Lord's energy, which is real. But why it's called illusory? Because it functions to produce illusion. It's called illusory because it's from a functional perspective. Constitutionally, being energy of the Lord, it is real. But it produces illusion, therefore it's called illusory. But the energy is real. Because the world is manifested by the Lord's energy, it is real. And therefore it can be used in the service of the Lord who is supreme real. Devotional service is a reality. And this energy can be used in his service, and then it is spiritualized. So Krishna energy is inconceivable. Like Prabhupada used to give the example of producing heat. The current can produce heat and cold, just the opposite. The same electricity can produce heat and cold. Similarly, the energy of the Lord, which is illusory, becomes real when the devotees utilize that in the service of the Lord. And therefore Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung that the only reality in this world is the holy name of the Lord. The holy name of the Lord. And of course, anything in relation to that also becomes real. When we take shelter of the Lord's holy name and use this material energy in the service of the Lord, it is also resumed its spiritual nature because it is connected with the Lord who is all spiritual. So this is about the illusory nature, and I also have touched upon briefly about the reality which exists in this world. Thank you very much for your patient hearing, and it's already 8:30. Do we have time for question and answers? Since it is Sunday, so I hope it's not a working day for most of you, and of course more and more are brahmacharis. So for brahmacharis, every day is a working day and also not a working day, inconceivable. So, yes, any comments, questions, concerns? Hare Krishna, Mother Ratnavali Devi.
Thank you very much. Do we need to understand the structure of the universe and all this creation story to be Krishna conscious, to be humble?
We can, because it's there in the Bhagavatam, and Acharyas have recommended one should read Bhagavatam systematically, starting from Janmadhyasya, even before that, the preface and introduction, cover to cover. So we should try to read it, not skip it, and try to understand either by reading or by hearing from those who have understood it to some extent. No one can fully understand this description actually. So to some extent, those who have understood by hearing, we can appreciate and increase, as I said, increase our faith and appreciation and how great the Lord is. So this gives the idea how great the Lord is. And then when we understand that our sambandha jnana becomes stronger, our faith becomes stronger. So it has a purpose. Right? Thank you, Hare Krishna. Something else? Yes, Prabhu?
How does not somebody lead to strong faith?
How does sambandha jnana leads to strong faith? Yes, because we like if you just take an example, Prabhupada gives the example of the dog and the master. The dog and the master. The Prabhupada says the stray dogs on the street, they're always very scary. Now here you don't see the stray dog, so not such a good analogy in India. So now take that example which Prabhupada gave and just complete that. So, or take an example of a child. Let's say a child is playing in the park. When the child knows my father is with me and no one can hurt me, he is there for my protection. That is sambandha jnana. He is more confident. He can easily play around. He knows that my father is watching over me and he is powerful to give me all protection from whatever danger that there could be. And he has witnessed that also. When the child is about to topple over, the parents immediately hold the child and protect the child. Right? So when we understand the greatness, when the child knows the greatness of the father, to the degree the child understands the greatness, he has faith in the father's protection. So therefore, to the degree we understand the greatness of Krishna, to that degree we will have faith in his protection, in his mercy. He is in control of all the energies, like that. Can answer the question? Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, Nitya Gopal.
Second question.
Yeah, yeah,
Now in US time is not a restriction.
yes.
So this description of the 80,000 high mountain, is it 80,000 now, or it would be like when it was first described, when it was described? At that time, it was said like pretty much, oh yeah, because of time, it can be the effect.
You are saying the Lokalok mountain was 80,000 miles when this was described. Now it could be different.
Like Govardhan, for example,
Like Govardhan. Okay, so now it could be smaller. No, it is that Govardhan became smaller for a reason. Now, just like the sun is not diminishing its power, though the scientists may say there are fuels which are burning, some gases, helium, this, that, but it's not diminishing in its power. Similarly, the Lokalok mountain stands at same height because it has some function to perform. It doesn't allow the rays of all the luminaries to cross. Right? So therefore, it stands 80,000 miles intact. Doesn't reduce it. Govardhan reduces by the will of the Lord. To be just at the height which will be best for performance of Krishna's pastime. So he got that curse by Pulaska Rishi. That curse is there, that's became the external reason. Internal reason is Govardhan reduced to be just the height which will be best for Krishna and Balaram to perform pastime. And it continues to reduce in separation from the Lord now. So there are different reasons for it. External reason, internal reason, and so on and so forth. Right? Hare Krishna. Something else? Yes, Prabhu. Gadai Goranga Prabhu.
Whereabouts did you learn and strengthen your knowledge of what's in the fifth canto of the Bhagavatam? Is it from the Bhagavatam itself, or you heard from some specific people?
Which one?
The description of the universe.
Huh.
How did you strengthen your faith and your understanding of it?
Okay, this description, there's one devotee whose name is Pavaneshwar Prabhu has done a lot of research on this. He has written some books. And also I read the commentary of Vishwanath Thakur. He gives several insights. There is another reference of this creation, of the Bhumandala, in Ramayana. Now Sugriv, he runs everywhere from fear of Bali, Sugriv. So Sugriv, it said he travelled very extensively in fear, finding a place to hide. And he traversed all over he could go. And therefore he describes to Lord Ram that his exploits. He was a great explorer, Sugriv, out of fear of Bali. And he has also given description of this Bhumandala, like Lokalok mountain and other places which are described in Bhagavatam. It is also described in Ramayana by Sugriv, who is a first-hand witness. He could travel to this length and breadth of Bhumandala, going to the edge where there are 4 great elephants called Diggaj, and so on and so forth. So those also quite closely correspond to Bhagavatam description. And there is another Acharya in Madhvacharya Sampradaya who was the avatar of Vayudev. And he has also extensively written. As a Vayu, he could also like Sarvatraga, he could go, the air can go everywhere. So he has also written certain descriptions of this universe, the creation, which also closely correspond. So there are several sources, and devotees have done research and compiled, and so on and so forth. So like that we can understand this universe to some extent and increase our appreciation for the greatness of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay, so I think we'll conclude over here. Once again, my gratitude to all of you for joining this morning. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaut Premanande. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for coming here.